Thank you for joining us again with another episode of the Smarter Business Podcast. I'm Neil Carroll, owner of vidwheel. Now you might notice that this looks a lot different than past episodes if you're watching this on video. That's because this is the first one of these stand-ups that we're recording since the arrival of the coronavirus. It's been a huge adjustment for everybody. Stay healthy and stay strong. On this episode of the Smarter Business Podcast, we have Paul Greiner doing the interviewing, and he's speaking to Francine Brooks of FB Displays and Designs. Paul talks to Francine about a number of things, including being a woman entrepreneur and hiring the right people for your business. Please check out the episode. Comment, share, subscribe. We really appreciate your support.
Well, thanks for coming in, Francine.
Oh, my pleasure. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's great to have you. And if you would go ahead and kind of introduce yourself to the folks who are watching, who you are, your business, what you do.
All right, thanks. My name is Francine Brooks. I'm the owner of FB Displays and Designs located here in the Buffalo area. We've been in business for 25 years. Actually, last year it's been 25 years, and it's been a roller coaster ride most of the time because that's what business is all about. What we do is we design and build exhibits for companies that attend trade shows or any type of face-to-face marketing event. It could be a sponsorship event, it could be a conference, but as long as it's an event where you need to brand your business, make people aware of who you are and what you do, we designed a display that does that for you.
Nice.
Yes, but we do focus on displays that are more modular in nature as opposed to custom. We don't have a shop. We do have a little shop, but not a big one. And we work with different manufacturers across the country to design displays that will fit our clients' needs. But the display could be anywhere from 10 feet to 20 feet to 30 feet or to island configuration. So this has been really our business model, to use existing parts from manufacturers across the country and design a display that will fit our clients' needs.
Okay, so you're kind of customizing, you're giving them what they need, but without having to create it all from scratch.
Exactly,
yes.
Exactly. And it makes it easier for them as well, because if they can go from a 10-foot to a 20-foot to a 30-foot, they can, most of the time, set it up themselves, depending on the venue where they are across the country, or if they have the time or not the time. But it makes it easier. And it also makes it extremely modular, easy to change, easy to update. So it works for our clients, and it works for us as well.
Nice. And I believe I was reading that you kind of built out to where you are now, right? You started obviously a little bit smaller and then a slightly different model, and kind of also in a modular kind of fashion, added more and more to your business. So can you talk a little bit about how that journey was?
Yes. Well, when I first started, I was working with 3 manufacturers who, part of the contract was that I had a showroom. And I started in my garage, so obviously I didn't have a showroom. So I rented some space from Raybeck Designs. The owner is David Brace. I worked for him prior to starting my business. And David was a great guy, and he let me have space in his showroom. So that's where I was. I started out there and worked really the office part of it out of my garage. And then a year after that, after I started, I rented a space, a very small space in the Clarence, Lancaster, Williamsville area. And every 2 years, we kept knocking down walls. So now we have a nice large showroom, office space. We also have storage area, because we started a program maybe about 10 years ago. Well, in 2008, when the economy was not so good, and we started offering storage facilities to clients, and we also did fulfillment for them, so that if a client had 10 displays and wanted to ship them to the various parts across the country, we took care of all that. And then the displays come back to us, we check them, clean them, put them back in storage. So we needed more space to do that. So we kept expanding, and also has to be climate controlled because of the display. So we couldn't do it off site where it's either cold or warm. So we made it work. We made it work within our environment.
Yeah.
So, And it's a great service that we offer to large corporations who do not want to hire someone to take care of that only.
Yeah, one less thing for them to manage or having to pay money for, right?
Exactly.
So that's very cool.
Yeah, so this has been a really good program, and especially when the economy was a little more difficult in 2008 and 9, it helped keep the cash flow going.
Yes, had to adapt a little bit and bring something extra in. Yes, well, that's adapt or die often, right?
You have to. You really have to, and you know, I always say to my staff, you can't stand still in business. You know that. If you think you're standing still, you're going down.
Yeah.
So you always have to make little steps here and there, and you're better off taking small steps and doing them well than trying to do too much all at once.
Yes.
So that was a step. That was one of the steps.
You can also bury yourself with success, right?
True.
By getting in over your head and then not being able to really deliver at that same quality level that your clientele is used to.
Exactly. And as service and quality is what will keep your clients coming back at all times. So you always have to keep that in mind.
Yes.
All the time.
For sure. So kind of on that theme of developing business, adapting, it's been 25 plus years that you've been just in this business. And here in Buffalo, obviously we've come through some different times, and we've got the resurgence going, as we like to talk about. And while certainly some of that narrative, some of the hype's a little out in front of our results so far, it's important. The narrative has to come first, and then the results follow.
Right.
So what has been the view in a world where, whatever, I've seen different stats, right? But certainly within 10 years, 50% at least, 50 to 80% of businesses are gone that have started. So what have you seen in 25 plus years in this local area, in this economy? What changes have you seen? What stands out to you? Is there anything that's distinctly different now?
Now I think we have a lot of more businesses than we used to 10 years ago. And I think people are realizing that being in Western New York is a great place to be. And especially now with technology, you can have your business here, but you can be doing business anywhere across the country and across the world. So I think the location is important. It's close to Canada. You can travel anywhere out of Buffalo. I think the culture of Buffalo is a major attraction because of how friendly and loyal everyone is here in Buffalo. And I think the opportunities with with buildings, with real estate, that I think all of these things put together has really made a big change in the Western New York area, in Buffalo. And it's a pleasure to do business in Buffalo. And people are very loyal, they're receptive, friendly, always willing to help you. So it's, of course, there are bigger cities, New York, Chicago, Los Angeles, but you get lost in the shuffle in there. And you have to have a different type of stomach for that environment, I think.
Yes.
So I think I've seen a lot of changes in Buffalo, but what I have seen that has not changed is that people are loyal, they're hardworking, and they're very receptive and welcoming with people coming in.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I've the culture, I find, even though technically we're kind of placed on the East Coast because we're in New York, and there's enough East Coast edge and straight to itness, but very Midwestern in its welcomeness, and like you said, loyalty. Those things are pretty rare and rarer, especially in corporate environments these days.
Right.
In either direction, right? Employees to companies and companies to employees. But here you see folks who have been working in the same industry, in the same company, and having the same relationships. We're a small enough town where no matter what we're doing online or whatever our marketing might live, relationships still drive it.
Absolutely.
And you burn a bridge, you somehow burn a whole bunch of them very quickly.
You can't do that. You just cannot do that. One of the things I mentored in a Business First event last week, mentoring women, young women coming up in business, and they asked us to just say a couple of words about our mantra. And my mantra is, always be responsible for your actions and always take the high road no matter what the situation is, because you'll come out of it in a much better situation.
Right.
Yes. So, you've talked about burning your bridges. You can never do that, whether it's personal or in business, but especially in business, there's always a solution to an issue or a challenge. And it always has to be a win-win situation for both parties at all times. So if you are in business, I think that's something to keep in mind at all times.
Yes.
At all
times. Yes. And I think that probably does apply in larger markets and environments, but certainly in one that still is condensed as ours. Yeah. I mean, we don't need 6 degrees of separation. We're all within like 1 or 2 at this point. Right. So I've been saying it a lot. I think those conversations come up as this dynamic shifts in this town, because I mean, in digital media is a thing. We're shooting a podcast right now. We're in video, so we're all about the internet and what's available through it. But in this town, you've got to have both sides because things go so quickly. Right. I mean, we've got we're in a building right now. There's 12 other businesses or something like that in this building.
Cool building.
And stuff. It is pretty cool.
It's a cool building.
And you run into people so often, and you're talking so often, and of course, humans, we can prone towards the negative, towards the complaint. And so if you happen to be a topic of complaint, if you've rubbed people the wrong way or you've done someone wrong, you're going to show up in those conversations. And in the show Letterkenny, they have a saying, bad gas travels fast in a small town. Yeah. And I think that applies here,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So yeah, important to be aware that regardless of how smart you are, how good you even are, right, at what you do, if you're not taking care of your relationships, you're not going to win. You're not going to even possibly survive.
You're right. You're absolutely right. And no matter what technology you're involved in, and now with the technology nowadays, you have the young people who use their mobile phone or tablets to communicate instead of talking. You still have to maintain a degree of class, I guess you'd go to say, class, sophistication, and always communicate in a very positive manner at all times.
Yep.
Yes, so it's, as you get older in business and you've been in business for a while, and you realize that is the best approach. No matter technology, you can have all kinds of things available to you and work with technology within your business, but it still has, like you said, relationships at all times.
Yeah. Critical.
Yes.
So on the relationship note, and following in this as our community comes along over the last few decades, I know you've done a fair amount of work alongside of your business and just personally in different parts of the community, right? Like the whole giving first, giving back kind of phenomenon, and specifically with Junior Achievement.
Junior Achievement is one of them. Junior Achievement is affiliated with Buffalo Niagara Sales and Marketing Executives, whose board I serve on. I've been a member of the organization since 1994.
Okay.
I love Buffalo Niagara Sales and Marketing Executives. It's a wonderful group of smart people who are willing to help each other, do business with one another. And it's also a great way to grow professionally. So I'm just saying this out there because I like the organization, not just because I'm on the board, but I think it's a great organization. And Junior Achievement is partnered, or Buffalo Niagara Sales and Marketing Executive is partnered with Junior Achievement with the golf outing that takes place every year.
Right.
So 50% of the proceeds from the golf is given to Junior Achievement. So in the past years, we've given $10,000, $11,000, $12,000, depending on the year, but it's a great way. And I'm the lead sponsor for the golf outing.
Yes.
So that makes it very nice. But I'm also involved in Buffalo Hearing and Speech Center, which is a non-for-profit organization whose board I serve on as well. And I admire the mission of the Buffalo Hearing and Speech Center, and to see how they help families with children within the autism spectrum or are hearing impaired or with a multiple of challenges, and they have wonderful services and programs to help these children. So I'm very devoted to that organization as well. And I've mentored at CEL. I'm a graduate of the CEL program at UB, the Center for Entrepreneurial Leadership. I graduated in 1999, the core program, in 2007 in the advanced program, and I've mentored or reacted to the participants on a yearly basis.
Okay.
With another great program in our community.
Yes, yeah, for sure.
Yes,
Neil went through
it.
that
Yes,
a year or two ago,
so.
and
Yes.
very, very valuable.
Yes,
and
yes.
the network, that you
Is
build out of it
invaluable.
is incredible.
Because being a business owner is very lonely, and it's very nice to have other business owners to be able to speak with and share your challenges and hear how they've handled their challenges. And you can always learn something new. And even with mentoring, I mentor in a program, and I help someone guide them. I help them guide them through the program, and I say, well, what am I doing in my business? I'm telling this person to do this and that, and then it makes me re-examine my business all the time.
Yeah. Yes.
So it's a great program. You should always give back. And one of the best things that we do is we adopt a family every year, my business, from Buffalo Hearing and Speech, and we buy them gifts, and we create a big Christmas extravaganza
cool.
for them.
Yeah.
And it's great. My staff gets involved, and we share in the expenses and in the purchases. So it's a great experience.
Yeah, I bet that sounds like a moving.
Because we have so
kind of
much,
thing.
all of us.
Yeah.
And so many have nothing, absolutely nothing.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's for sure.
And there's a bowl-a-thon coming up, Junior Achievement. It's next Saturday, where we will bowl and raise money for Junior Achievement. So we have a team, we wear Hawaiian shirts and we go bowling.
Oh, nice, nice.
So
You any
we got
good?
fun.
Are you any?
No,
good?
I'm not good. Not at all. I just watch.
That's good. It's good to know where you're at in
Exactly.
things. Stay in your lane. No pun intended with the bowling thing.
Funny.
Yes, clever. So one thing that we always ask everyone who comes on here, since we're the Smarter Business Podcast, is what is one thing in particular, one key thing that you've done or implemented or used that has made your business smarter?
It's a very good question. I don't think there's just one thing, you know that. But I think hiring the right people is very important. And we try to anyway, to hire for attitude. And I think we can teach skills, but I think attitude is extremely important because we're a small team and we like to be able to work together cohesively. So I think that's one thing that is part of the business. And trying to stay ahead of technology, which is not an easy thing to do because it changes daily. So especially in our industry where is such a visual industry, so we try to keep up with the software available. And I was mentioning the storage program that we established in 2008. We've grown with this technically and with technology, and we have a software now that we own, and that helps us with that storage program and keeps things running very smoothly. One of my staff, Bill Henneke, heads that program, and he is a FileMaker maven, so to speak, and he's the one who really put that software in place.
Okay.
Yes, so that has helped a lot. So technology, the right people, how to get clients, how to keep your clients.
Yeah.
There's never just one thing.
No, of course not.
And always offering the best possible solution for your clients.
Yeah, that
And
helps.
staying ahead of the game.
Being relevant.
Exactly.
No matter how much tech or the greatest people, you have to be providing something that people want.
Exactly. And that is the right thing that our clients will want to come back. Yes.
Cool.
Yes.
So one last thing, and this is open-ended. So we give everyone a chance to, and if you want to address the camera directly for it, you can. So anything you want to share, whether it's a promo, a recommendation, this is your chance to just say what you want.
Well, I'll start with a recommendation on books. You had mentioned something about books. I'm an avid reader, absolutely avid reader. And this past year, I've read a couple of books that have really stayed with me. So I thought I'd share them with the audience.
Perfect.
One of them is Educated, and of course I can't remember the author, but it's a true story. The author is actually still alive, and it's a story about being raised in a Mormon environment. It is an excellent book. So Educated is one of them. Where the Crawdads Sing is another one.
Okay.
But these are all fiction. That has nothing to do with
okay,
business.
Perfect. Yeah.
Yes. And then the last one I read is In an Instant, which was heartbreaking. So these are the 3 books that I say I would recommend if someone's looking for something that's intense, heartwarming, and that will get you thinking.
Okay.
I think these are these great books. Cool. As far as on a business level, you know, I've been around a long time, and we always want to grow our business. So if we're looking for, always look for clients who have a trade show program that's incorporated within their marketing and branding program. And we can do anything from a small banner stand to a 40-foot display with hanging signs. So it runs the gamut, but we stay true to ourselves. I had a client who asked for something a couple of weeks ago, which was not part of our business model. Yeah. And we thought about it for over a week, and then decided that to tell the client that unfortunately we couldn't help them.
Okay.
And I didn't want to start something that I knew I couldn't deliver within the quality that we're used to deliver our products. So, but again, we can do just about anything for any face-to-face marketing program, for any conference, trade shows, events that you have. We can help any client. And I want to thank you, Paul, and I want to thank Neil, and I want to thank your whole team for what you do and everything that you do, especially on social media. You're so generous in what you do and how you approach things, and I think that's being recognized everywhere.
Awesome. Well,
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very
and
much.
If people want to find you, where do they go?
They go to our website, which is displaysanddesigns.com. You can go on Google and say Displays in Buffalo. We'll come up first. Or they can call us at 716-635-0282. And
Awesome.
we'd love to speak with you.
Beautiful. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Well, thanks for coming out.
Thank
Good
you
to
so
see
much.
you again.
It was a pleasure.
We'll see you soon. Thanks
you.
for watching.
Thank you.
Okay, that wraps up this episode of the Smarter Business Podcast. Check out FB Displays and Design at displaysanddesign.com. And thank you for tuning in. Please subscribe, tell your friends, let us know what you think.